Champions League days at the Arsenal are back, and hit the like button on this video if your team is top of their Champions League group. Listen, what a brilliant, brilliant game that was. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there today because, a bit of news for you all, my second son was born a couple of weeks ago, which means that certain games I'm just not going to be able to get to for a little while. But the good news is that Project Saka starts all over again with another little boy. And yeah, it's already underway with the first one. Not going as well as I'd hoped, but listen, I'm doubling my chances here. So fingers crossed for Project Saka, pending in about 16 years. But for now, let's focus on Arsenal 4, PSV 0. And just, I wish I was there today. I really do. What a performance. You know, first time back in the Champions League for, 6 years? And you could tell every single man in a red shirt today was bang up for it. And that is what Mikel Arteta has got pulsating through this squad. That desire, that fight, that competition, everything just absolutely perfect right now. It really, really feels good. A very, very different performance to our last game against Everton, where we won 1-0 away from home. This one, obviously a sparkling 4-0 win, which we will look back on and look at the highlights reel on again, where Everton we won't. But one common part of both of those performances was just the consummate control that we had in both of those games. For me, it's so pleasing to see because I think it's a really, really good example between the two games, because some days you will sparkle like tonight and other days you might not, like against Everton. But provided you have that game management, provided you have that control throughout the 90 minutes, it means that you'll always get the result, always get a result. You know, obviously some days won't go your way, but you maximize your chances of getting something, and most likely 3 points out of a game. And against Everton we did it with 1-0, and today we've done it 4-0. And against that game against Everton, one man that I spoke about was Leandro Trossard with an unbelievable finish. The goal that he scored against Everton, like I said in my match reaction, was technically unbelievable. So, so good. And the goal that he scored today, again, one touch. He's just absolutely one of our, if not our best player at that first time finish in and around the box. Honestly, what a baller he is. He's one of those players that, people used to say, who's the best player outside the top 4 or outside the top 6? For me, Trossard is always one of the ones on the top of my list because he really, really is such a good player. We've seen him at Brighton, always popping up with goals against, against big teams as well. It wasn't just a case of, only when he's playing at home and against smaller teams. He would always take chances. He's just very comfortable in front of goal. Scored a cracker for Belgium. Scored a brilliant goal for Arsenal against Everton, and again today scored a lovely, lovely goal. And, just some of the moves, some of the team moves for the goals were absolutely brilliant. Ødegaard involved in the first one. He was obviously the goal scorer for the fourth one. He had a brilliant game today. In a way, I was actually a bit frustrated that he played the 90 minutes because I'm seeing Declan Rice come off, I'm seeing Gabriel Jesus come off, and I'm thinking, good, let's protect some of these key players. And Ødegaard is like playing 90 minutes, and I'm thinking, he's so important, man. Take him off, rest him. Massive game on the weekend. So that's why I almost wanted him to come off. But what a performance he had. Bukayo Saka, always so, so good. Trossard was brilliant as well. Declan Rice, I mean, you can see how much Declan Rice wants it. That is why you leave teams like West Ham, because you want to play for Arsenal on the biggest stage and play in games like this, in performances like this. And today, he will be looking around, enjoying that moment. He'll be in the changing rooms after the game thinking, yeah, I made the right decision. Arsenal are back where they belong. And the Champions League is exactly where we belong. And do you know what? You look at the Champions League and you look at all the teams that we're up against and you think to yourself, maybe now we've actually got a chance, a really, really good chance of winning it that we haven't had for many, many years. Obviously, we remember the final going back almost 20 years now. And at that time, we had a squad where we'd look at the competition in Europe and we'd look at it and say, yeah, we've got a really, really good chance. And now I look at this Arsenal team and I think, yeah, there's some very, very good teams on on the sort of European continent, but our main competition comes from within the Premier League. And then there's a few teams out and about that you think, actually, yeah, we can like really do a job against them. Look at Bayern Munich, for example. They stumbled to a 4-3 victory against Man United today. Man United, you can't be conceding 3 goals at home to Man United, for God's sake. Bayern Munich don't look like they're the Bayern Munich of old. Barcelona certainly aren't the Barca of old. PSG remains to be seen how they fare, but they're not a team that I think they're going kind of through a rebuilding phase, aren't they? So they're not exactly the PSG that everyone sort of feared at one point. Then again, in Europe, have they ever had that fear factor? Real Madrid, yeah, decent team, very, very good European pedigree, so you can never rule them out. But really, I'm not fearful of a lot of teams in Europe. It's Man City and Liverpool. They're the teams that, Man City just because they're so good, and Liverpool because, they may well be back. And in Europe, you can never count them out, a bit like Real Madrid. But Arsenal have got a chance. And what we did today, we laid a marker down. We came back as if we'd never been away, and we just smashed PSV in such spectacular fashion that I think we've laid a marker down to say, hey, we're one of the teams who want our hands on this trophy. We're not here to take part. We really, really were good, and I think it'll be away from home. Because Mikel Arteta, obviously an inexperienced manager, he's not a Champions League veteran, is he? So it's away from home where you get your experience, where you earn your stripes. And our first game is away at Lens. And look, again, that's it's going to be difficult because it's always difficult away from home. But it's not a game where we're going in with a lot of fear. Sevilla is going to be a tough one because they actually do have serious European pedigree, albeit not necessarily in this competition in the Europa League, but nevertheless, they're going to have a very good European home record. That will probably be our toughest test in this group. But after starting off the way we have, I fully expect us to get out of the group, and I'm already looking forward to the knockout stages because, as I say, I'm excited about this European campaign. Anyway, some of the goals today. Gabriel Jesus, Trossard, what an assist. Right on the money in terms of to Jesus' feet. His first touch, look at that first touch again. The way he controls it, so there's a bit of backspin that brings the ball back to him, and then first time strike, just perfection. Ødegaard strike, perfection. Trossard strike, perfection. Bukayo Saka on the rebound, alive, alert. The whole team were quicker, hungrier, more on it than PSV today. Some unbelievable performances. And you know what? I feel for Kai Havertz because today is not a day where we need to criticise anyone after such a brilliant performance. But again, with Kai Havertz, like some good touches, some poor touches, but he's just not up to the same pace as the other players. But you know what? I'm really glad he played the full game today because it's games like this where he'll get his minutes in, he'll get more used to, more adapted to playing for Arsenal and this team. And look, hopefully it will come for him. But in a way, you could say maybe this was his best game in an Arsenal shirt. And even then, I don't think he'll be entirely happy going off the pitch. But he was fine. As well, other players, Zinchenko was good, Ben White was good, Saliba and Gabriel were imperious, and no one's going to talk about them because when you win 4-0 and you play such good football, who talks about defenders? But they were brilliant. They were just bullies at the back. Really enjoyed their performances. And David Raya played yet again rather than Aaron Ramsdale. I almost thought, I wonder if Aaron Ramsdale will get the Champions League night. Is that what Arteta was doing? But Ramsdale hasn't done anything wrong, and Raya's played the last 2 games. Let me know in the comments below who your prediction is for the North London derby. Who's going to be in between the sticks? Is it Aaron Ramsdale or is it David Raya? I don't have a clue at this stage, but if I'm going to guess, I'll say David Raya because played 2 games, hasn't done anything wrong. Yes, he hasn't been tested either. He didn't have much to do today, but whatever he had to do, he did easily, and he was in the right place, showed some good distribution. A couple of times the ball was sort of overhit a little bit. Overall, look, he's done nothing wrong, but neither had Ramsdale. So it's a bit of a toss-up, but listen, I'm just going to back the manager because so far, 4 wins out of 5 and 1 draw in the Premier League, won a Champions League game, 4-0. The manager's doing the business, so we've just got to back him. Anyway, I'll see you for my 5 at 5 tomorrow. Make sure you hit like on this video, and I'll see you tomorrow and then on Sunday for the big game in the North London derby. Put your predictions below. Take care. See you then.